Hello to all the gamers. And as it's sad it may be, gaming is not what it used to be. New stuff bad, old things good. The old stuff is where it's really at. Was it? In any case, this is play for the PS1, and this guy needs no introduction. Released in the year 2000, 2 years after the first Blade movie starring Wesley Snipes came out. A beloved and massively successful movie filled with action, drama and excitement. For a child that has 3 games for his PlayStation, this game may seem the best thing gaming can offer, and apparently we had no time to wait 1 more year for the Japanese to implement a perfect example of how to make an action game. The story is set as a prequel for the first Blade movie, but this is not really important, and I couldn't care less, because this game is really terrible, so terrible that it could be used as an effective interrogation device. This may be perceived as extreme YouTuber exaggeration, and I am being a bit hyperbolic, but at the same time I am not. This game has all the ingredients to be considered a frustrating and painful experience. I have no intention to cover the story nor bother to understand what's going on, which is not much, but in any case, don't worry about it. So, after an introductory cutscene, the game begins. The game consists of traversing the levels while fighting enemies, vampire and humans alike, with different types of weapons that you go picking up as you advance through the game. First, I'll explain the controls before moving forward. D-pad up and down does the very obvious, and left and right make you turn very slowly. You shoot and attack with X, circle performs a kick that can knock down enemies, triangle allows you to do an extremely fast jump, and shoulder buttons allow you to lock on and cycle your weapons and items. Items themselves include healing items that restore your HP and your stamina bar. That's right, there's a stamina bar that depletes when you attack with melee and strafe while locking on. You can attack without any anyway, and the stamina items allow you to attack faster. Sometimes, between the levels, we have fully voiced cutscenes. Obviously, Blade is not voiced by Wesley Snipes, and to be fair, for a game from the 2000s, the voice acting isn't that bad, dare I say decent for a game from its period.
You're out of your freaking mind.
The enemies either attack with firearms, which are the human enemies, and those that melee are the vampires, which leads to one of the first things the game explains. Vampires are weak to melee but resistant to bullets, and as we all know, humans hate getting shot, and our skin is very resistant to physical trauma. Killing enemies drops ammo, healing items, and of course, money that can be used in refill points to restock on ammo. Items can also be found throughout the levels, including key items needed to progress, that can also be found in hidden locations that can also include other items like these one's called glyphs and other types of items as well. So what makes this game such a pain in the ass? I'm glad you asked. If one was paying attention, one may have noticed the problem. It's an action game with 10 controls. When I first started the game, I followed the rules set to me. I would melee the vampires and shoot the humans, and very quickly the gameplay was getting very stale. The stages go on forever, I wasn't doing that much different. I started to think there was not much use to squeeze from this game. Nevertheless, I came forward as the game slowly shed its skin, and this doesn't take long to happen. This is about this stage, where it made the game interesting in a masochistic sort of way. The game introduces a new enemy, one that can only melee and it is very slow, but they cannot die by the shoot and try method of depleting their health bars, and this is where ammo became a bit of a concern, so at first I ignored them and kept going. But it was a mistake. This is when my peripheral vision noticed the circle at the top right, and I made a very important discovery, the game's most important mechanic: critical hits. firing just at the circle in the top right field inflicts critical damage, the circle feeling faster or slower depending on the weapon equipped. This not only allows you to inflict more damage, saving you ammo, but it also permanently kills these immortal enemies, so the earlier you master this, the better. Unfortunately, this one is the lesser of the many issues you encounter throughout the game. The ones that are the originators of the game's very frustrating and terrible experience are very connected to each other. This partnership is composed of three elements: the controls, the camera, and the very fast enemies, and a fourth addendum that is not related to the other three, but also influences in the frustration, which is the save system. To demonstrate this clip of the fight at the end of the very same stage exemplifies all four of them in a very clear fashion. After unlocking the door to the projector room, gain the code and gain the key to advance to encounter the first boss. Not only he does a lot of damage, he's also too fast. The most difficult enemies in the game are exactly like this. You have to steer clear and take them down quickly because you're gonna get tagged in seconds. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said about Blade. He is slow to attack, even to turn. The camera doesn't help with this, since usually you don't know where the enemy is at when you are turning, so sometimes you may get a surprise. When you die, you can only log back to your last save, and you can only save in these blue circles. In this case, the blue circle is before the stage. There are no checkpoints in this game, so if you die, you go back to your last save. This is where Miyazaki found inspiration for Demon Souls. When you are further into the game, you will also find yourself abandoning melee and using only your firearms, because melee attacks are dog water. When you are too close, the attacks don't connect, and sometimes that screw me over. It also haunted me with a shotgun, which it's the kind of thing that makes my blood boil. Honorable mention to the camera that sometimes has fixed camera angles that disorient you and makes what you are doing confusing, and to the frame rate that added with the graphics has made my eyes hurt from time to time. Did I forget to mention the soundtrack? It has this techno/electronic soundtrack that is mostly fast-paced and intense. It's not bad, but it's insanely annoying hearing it all the time, to the point that I had to turn it down, not to mention insanely loud, especially in some fights or segments where this super fast aim break that is so loud that I'm having trouble trying to tune the volume of the audio correctly. It's literally louder than anything else in the game. Luckily, the game finds a way to balance this out. For instance, the AI is extremely brain dead. They can easily get stuck on walls trying to chase you, and sometimes they get stuck on nothing. Some highlights include this pain in the ass of a level that is filled with corners with enemies, including some that take you down quickly with very few and far between checkpoints, and another level that you play as Whistler. There's a few bosses like this one that has to get hit by the green projectiles shot by the ads, and the spellcaster runs with a shield that you can only damage when it's attacking. Unironically, the hardest enemies are the common ones we already mentioned, including one that's right after the last save in the game that has a grenade launcher. If unlucky, it can one-shot you. Not even the main bad guy of the game is that tough. He doesn't even have original moves. If for some reason you made it far into the game, then you already know how to beat every enemy. The only thing that can stop you at this point is the camera and the controls. The final boss is not a real boss, but a puzzle fight, where you have to press the switches in the correct order. But that doesn't stop it from being complete garbage. The attacks are nearly unavoidable, and there is no indication of what the order is, so you have to trial and error until you get it. So that means dying and going all the way back to the last save and doing all over again, which can take you around 10 minutes. And that's about it. There's not much else worth to mention. The game is really bad. but I feel there was an attempt from the devs to make an actual effort to make something good, even if it is impossible to tell. Those items you get like the glyphs give info on enemies on the main menu, and the other items give a laser gun for the whistler level you find them all. I didn't manage to get it, but you can literally beat the level without it, so it can't be that useful. The most interesting part for me, however, is that I did a second playthrough to get some more footage, and I found myself breezing through the game to the point that it was kind of fun in a morbid sort of way, which led me to think how one may find itself playing a flawed game so much that the Stockholm syndrome kicks in and one finds it balanced and making sense. It also made me think that any game can be figured out, no matter how fundamentally bad or flawed it can be. So I'd say it was worth playing all in all, for that moment of reflection and lesson for the day. Anyway, that's it. I'm going back to bed.
What a thrill, with darkness and silence through the night. What a thrill.